Killing of your brothers and your sisters, don't you say that is not right? I'm black Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Listen, Africa is my responsibility to see my people living up in love and unity. Marcus Garvey said this is the words of prophecy. Black people full of love, so there's a possibility amongst Africans with one of brutality. So killing what I want as South Africa have to flee. Build more schools and don't build your facilities. I said me royal African tree. Alright then, boom, boom. Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Listen, get to you, you need to know Emmanuel. The black Christ of salvation up as I need well. Heads of government, the people, them a go rebel. To the system where you create a us living in hell. Time a go come, you cannot buy nor sell. Babylon is falling out, the time can tell. Africa unite, come make we break them spell. Bless us, chest us, Emmanuel. Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Listen, Africa is my responsibility to see my people living up in love and unity. Marcus Garvey said this is the words of prophecy. Black people full of love, so there's a possibility amongst Africans with one of brutality. So killing what I want as South Africa have to flee. Build more schools and don't build your facilities. I said me royal African tree. Alright then, Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters, don't you know say that is not right? Listen, get to you, you need to know Emmanuel. The black Christ of salvation up as I need well. Heads of government, the people, them a go rebel to the system. Creator must be living in hell. Time ago come you cannot buy nor sell. Babylon is falling out the time and tell. Africa unite come make we break them spell. Bless us, chest us, Emmanuel. Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo.
Greetings and
Africa
salutations.
unite.
Blessed love one and all. Prophet Brian, otherwise known as Ras Ayam, Black Star Movements Association. Let us guide our destiny. Yeah. Blessed love to everybody out there in the world. Yeah, globally, whether you're in the Western world, North America, Europe, South America, Asia, the continent of Africa, heck, even Australia, you name it, from your black, and specifically, if you're a conscious black, welcome, welcome. As the Ghanaians would say, Akwaba, Salam Nesh, Salam No, or Salamta in Ethiopian Amharic. But welcome, one and all. Give thanks for life. Yeah, say, for last time, thank everyone that participated in that live and joined and asked a few questions. Was us having a little technical difficulty in regards to just seeing some of the questions that were asked. So just basically just relaunch this is specific installment of the Conscious Black Chat Live to give ones a chance to basically ask certain questions having to do with the Black Star Movement, Africa, consciousness, and just the basic overall struggle that we're facing as Black people. And might be, I'll be able to answer some questions and basically share some information that I know and my feelings towards the struggle and what's going on. Um, Currently, I just recognize just one person here in the chat. So we're just gonna go on, give it a, give it a minute and see if anybody else comes in. I know it's a Sunday, but give everybody the, a little chance to, hear about the live and get in on here. And in the meantime, we're just gonna listen to some music and listen to some beat and just go on and give thanks to life. So, yeah, thank you for being here once again. Prophet Brian, otherwise known as Ras I Am, coordinator for the Black Star Movements Association and the CBA, which is the Conscious Black Africans. That's what the Black Star Movement predominantly stand for. Whether you're diasporan, ADO or ADOTS, ADOTS, African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade and subsequent slavery, or whether you're a born African, Caribbean, Americas, you name it. Calling all conscious Black Africans, calling all conscious Black African, Pan African, pro Black, Rastafari, diasporan in the Western world, born African, as long as you're a conscious Black African, or you're trying to basically find your way, come into the light of being a conscious Black African, then this is the place for you in terms of finding out what it means and what it takes to be a conscious Black African. So welcome, welcome, Akwaba, Salante, give thanks for life, blessed love, and let's just give it a little time here. Yeah, right now it's just a little bit after 6 here in the Eastern Daytime Savings Time, which is about, checking for the few months. So maybe give it another 10 to 15 minutes, and we just get into just talking about Black Star Movement Association and what it takes to be, get into some discussions. We're just talking on some of the topics about what it takes to be conscious Black African versus just the mere Black African, which is great. So we could identify on the skin color, but we're more just than the color of our skin. We have a mind and a spirit, a heart as well. So we're gonna get into that. So stay tuned. people. They must be evil. Oh, my soul. They must be evil. My people, my people. My people, my people. They must be evil. Ah, they must be evil. Yeah, just giving it a few more minutes here to get into the chat. Just see if there anybody else here gonna come into the live. Yeah, make it the more the merrier, so we could ask some questions. But regardless, gonna continue on providing and giving a nice chat presentation on once again reiterating some of Black Star Movement's mission, purpose, goals, and objectives, and just basically further defining what the Black Star Movement stands for, what we're about, and keeping it real, 400 all the time. Give thanks for life, conscious Black strength and power. Focus. Keep it Black, Many take Black for granted, underestimate Black. We know Black is bold. We know Black is beautiful. We know Black is brilliant. We know Black is loving. We know Black is assertive. We know Black is conscious. We know Black is knowledgeable. And we know Black is the original. So keep it Black. Keep it 100. It's all about having pride in ourselves as a people, the downtrodden, the exploited, the colonized. The image that we have as Black people has been tarnished, and that's why we have to awake and bring forward this new conscious awakening, the Black conscious revolution, which is a revolution of the mind, completely cutting all bands of the shackles and chains that remain in our conscious and subconscious mind. So that takes a lot of reflection. That takes us looking into ourselves and being honest. Keep the Blackness true, keep it alive, keep it pure. We need to protect our Blackness, identify our Blackness, improve our Blackness. So just, a few minutes, 4 minutes here. We're gonna jump in, get this thing started. About another minute, 1 more minute. About a good time to kick this off. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. My people. Here's my honor. Yeah, if you seek black the power, not tomorrow, but right and now, yeah. Cause we need the power this very minute, this hour. Judgment like the time of Noah. People can't find life's nice flower. The inflation, boy. Whoa. From confidence in victory today. Whatever Jah made me to be. As a conscious black man, I have to see. Yeah, just like that. Yes, yes. Blessed love. Yes, yes, yes. Give thanks, one and all. Prophet Brian here, otherwise known as Ras I Am, once again. Black Star Movements Association, DSMA. Let us guide our destiny. Yeah, to a free, liberated, and a redeemed Africa. Yeah, give thanks for one and all. Give thanks for joining me to here today, this Sunday evening here. And we just at it again. This is round two. Round two, hopefully, it's a knockout of the evil world that wants to oppress the black world, and all people oppress humanity, and we have to stand up for our rights. It's only natural. It's in our blood as a born Jamaican, hailing from ones like obviously the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley, Kojo, Sam Shark, Queen Nanny, and a whole host of other freedom fighters, liberators, um, you know. And, as a black African blood, we have to give credence to ones just like the Honorable Malcolm X, even the Honorable Martin Luther King as well, just for the fact of speaking out on certain realities. Um, you know, in some cases, it's civil liberties, but just the fact of identifying with the people and knowing that there's a need to stand up against injustice, whether it's on a local level, national, international level. Black Star Movement specifically stands for uh, universal international level, with a focus on Black Africa. Because, a lot of the time the struggle has been in the Western world because that's where we find the Black diasporan, that's where we find the ADOTS, African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade and subsequent slavery. So that's where a lot of the fight and you know is going on. We know our African brothers and sisters there on the continent on that flank has their fight as well as a result of colonialism and modern day neo-colonialism. So many fronts, but Black Star movements, it's a conscious black movement that stands for and represent the new race, the enlightened race, which is the conscious black Africans. Conscious black Africans unite. Why conscious black Africans? Because being black is just not enough. While it's great to celebrate, recognize our melanin, being part of conscious is to study our history and all these things. Just identifying with mere color is not enough. We have dubious people within the black race, infidelity, treachery as a result of temptation, vanity, and just how the evil swings, where color doesn't matter when it comes to evil. But as a collective group of people identifying as a one race that we put first, we know that to beat and come out on top, we have to awaken to the conscious reality, truth, and light of a conscious black race. A conscious black race is basically ones that have knowledge of their self, know where they're from, and know where they're going, knowing the struggle from past to present that our ancestors, our forebears before us, not just with the Atlantic slave trade, not just 400 or 500 years ago, not just 2,000 years ago or two millennia ago, but from creation, knowing the whole creation story, our genesis of how we begun, the quick summary of God creating black people, black man and woman in their image, and then we take it from there. Because these are things that's been used to knock us off our axis, conscious and subconsciously as a people, for us to get amnesia and can't remember ourselves, and we are basically recovering from that. So while a lot of the time we see a lot of whole the slavery, the Kunte Kente, the Harriet Tubman struggle of the slavery in the Western world. We see the Black African struggle for independence as a result of the great African land grab with King Leopold and all these things in the 1800s. And we're trying to go back further than that. We see the ancient Ravenel culture, Nubia, the land of Kush, the so called Egyptians, Cometians, if you will, and how the pyramids still stand to this day, the Sphinx, the Pyramid of Giza, and all of these things. And there's great science and knowledge that has come out of the Eastern Nile Valley and created a lot of civilization. Has been taken across not just Africa, but the globe. As we see pyramids in the Americas, we see it in Europe, we see pyramids in China, we see pyramids all across the globe, the earth. So we know that it was a global, a global construction, a global context, and result as a result of the Black Empire and a lot of archaeological discoveries, digging, finding various things even till today, and was just staying on top of that. Um, a lot of European archaeologists is telling our stories a lot of the time, and a lot of evidence and things are admitted to keep us suppressed, not knowing ourselves and our contribution and our history to humanity as Black people. So we have to study, get our education, along with our spirituality, and stay in tune on a conscious level, on an educational level, and bring things to light to share with our Black brothers and sisters. So we stay and remain a conscious race who's basically assertive and have awareness in towards what's going on. But these are the things that are used against us as propaganda: the lack of knowledge, illiteracy, and ignorance. So we have to study sort to show ourselves approved. We have to seek knowledge constantly, even though it's the information age. We have to filter through this information and come up with pertinent knowledge, facts of reality that we could take into ourselves and share with our children and with our peers. And the Black Star movements, we're defending specifically as myself. I know the Rastafarians and a lot of Pan Africans in the diaspora. We represent the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, and this specific title or acronym is highlighted in conjunction with the CBA, which is a Conscious Black African, which entails blacks at home, blacks abroad. So the whole black family, Pan African quilt, if you will, of black people, no matter where you're at, and specifically with a conscious mind. But more specifically for myself, and one of the goals and the objectives is highlighting the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, because a lot of ourselves are still in the Western world. We're fighting hardship. A people without a land is like a people without a soul. And we're on the plantation, the American plantation, the Caribbean plantation, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, St. Vincent, Grenada, Haiti. We see what's going on with Haiti right there, even though they fought for their freedom. A lot of austerity measures to hold them down from rising, divide within the nation of Haiti there, and our hearts go out to them. And Hades is the descendants of African as well. While we know they're going to love and have their pride within their Haiti, they have to take into the consciousness of recognizing that they're descendants of Africa, and unite for that cause of not only defending Haiti, but for those Haitians who want to return and Sankofa back to Africa as well. As myself, as a black descendant of Africa, and also a Rastafari, which is a great part of my culture. So we highlight that because there is a grave need in these perilous times, and we see Africa as our sanctuary. We see Africa as our place of refuge. So we're trying to unite on that front as well. But within everything, it's within a conscious perspective, because throughout the past we've seen a lot of revolution and talk of revolution, but revolution needs to be defined more. Black Star Movement stands for a conscious revolution. A conscious revolution just simply means, as I entailed what consciousness is, knowledge of self. So basically, that steers us in the right path, to take the necessary steps to guide and have us focusing on the right things, the vocal point of what it's needed to basically give us results, because it's been years, centuries in the making of fighting for liberation, fighting for redemption. Black Star Movements Association, one of the missions and the purpose is we stand for the redemption of Africa. The conscious Black African awareness identity, but also the redemption of Black Africa, which is ultimately the redemption of Black people. Because Africa is our central homeland, it's the most populous place of Black people, currently 1.3 or so billion people, give and take. Some Arabs are in there, some Europeans, some Asians, but predominantly Black Africans. So we want a united continent. We want a free continent. We want the economically free Africa as well, not just an independent where, we have representation within the politics, but at the same time, within that same representation, there's a lot of pulling of puppet strings going on with some of our leaders that could be acting way better in the interests of the people, versus a lot of the times what we're seeing, plenty contracts, policies, and deals that seems like it's more geared to lace the pockets and to be of benefit to foreign nationals, foreign investment, more than local born African Black brothers and sisters. And that is not right. um, Being indebted as a nation, crippling debt, and no relief. When there is some loan or debt forgiveness and relief, is just met by follow up agreements as well. And then you're going to also have the previous debt hanging over your head, which is basically, hey, we hooked you up last time. So one hand wash the other, do something for us now. There's a specific investment we want, and your country would be perfect at the ports, or we want some sort of military grandstanding to use your nation as a port to send battleships or whatnot, so we could look over into other countries and whatnot. And yeah, it puts us at a disadvantage all the time. Certain mining agreements to come mine. Last time there was a question, just to get into that, about how do I feel about the mining in Africa. Um, and there's pros and there's cons, like with everything. While mining is required to get access to the diamonds and the precious metals and these things, um, better management, just like with everything else, needs to be put into place, where we take the people first off, and the land first off as well into consideration, meaning that Africa has a great ecosystem. It's been preserved since time immemorial, and we want to keep it that way. One of the last of certain rainforests and natural place and habitat for certain wildlife, specific plants, different flora and fauna there, that we want to maintain and keep that. We don't want to lose out on those invaluable assets just to gain paper dollar, because you can't pay to see a lion, an elephant, a black rhino, and these things, the gorilla, uh, big five animals there, giraffes, and these things, and have them extinct. Cape buffalo, we don't want that. That's a They have a home within Africa as much as we, the people, and those things are iconic when it comes to Africa, and we want to protect those animals, the waterways, and those things, not just for us, but for future generations to come, and make that a tradition. Because as Black or conscious Black people, we need to care about the earth. We're the caretakers. The Most High gave us dominion over the land, and it's to use as we see fit to make our lives better and easier in terms of food, clothes, and shelter, but it's also to preserve it and to protect the wildlife and the plants and animals that's there as well. So that's something we have to take into consideration. But yeah, a conscious revolution, economically wise, because we know that we need our food, we need our clothes, we need our shelter. Africa is basically laced to have chronic poverty, in such a place that is bountiful of wealth, full of wealth, riches, you name it, and there's chronic poverty, and a lot of that also has to do with the mind, the mental slavery as a result of tribalism. It's easy for foreigners to come in and divide us because the hate that ones project and have for each other just based off of difference of being different tribes and the ongoing clashes for either other ones is dominating the other one or one is encroaching on the other ones and those sort of things. In addition to just self hate of one's black self, because at the current moment, in some cases, Africa is not seen as in a good light as a due to the poverty. Ones are looking out of themselves to Europe as much as they are to foreign wigs and weaves and these things and the unnatural look, bleaching, and just seeing that others is better than ourselves versus having the notion that man could do what man could do. While we are lacking in certain aspects as black people, not internally per se, but externally, in terms of certain equipment, machinery, industrialization. But these are things that could be acquired by the right management, taking the right steps, and making the right investments. But what's harder is basically to change the minds and the attitude of us as Black people, and not just in Africa, the motherland, but Black people all over the world, whether you're Caribbean, the Americas, Europe, across the board. There's a theme of a kind of, lack of love for the Black self, lack of love for the Black self, lack of love to pull up the bootstraps and know that we're under attack. We've been under attack. We're being slandered. We're being victimized. We're being used for our talents, whether it's to run fast, jump high, come up with certain innovations, sciences, whether it's the GPS, the stoplight, the elevator, escalator, these things, uh, chips, you name it, various things Black people has invented, and we're taken for granted or we're taken advantage of. Foreigners or the next man gets the patent, gets all the money, and we're left with little or nothing. And the, 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 the fame the fame is somebody else receiving the fame, the notarization. It's being advertised that it's these people that did this and that. And when you even talk to people within the layman terms, as we go about our lives, you're being met with, what have you done, Black people? What have you contributed? You're living off of other people. Um, Africans is leaving Africa to come to Europe. They're making our country fail in Spain, our country fail, and Portuguese blaming us for the mismanagement of their European countries in the Americas as well. And you have boatloads of African trying to cross over there from the Rock of Gibraltar, other ones going to you know, the Eastern Passage there to get up into Europe to those sides. And so a lot of the time, some are meeting their maker trying to do that. If you head over to the Caribbean, the same thing. Back in the days, it was banana boats trying to make it over to Florida. You have some going to Panama, to Mexico there, just like how the Mexicans are trying to get America to America, because we hear that it's the land of opportunity, is the land of a great big breadbasket. A lot of it as a result of Africans, because whether it's slaving Africans to build up the Western world or taken from our raw materials and our gold on the actual continent, whichever way you take it, it's been built on the blood, the back, the sweat, and the tears of Africans, descendants of the slave trade, African black descendants of the slave trade and subsequent slavery. Whether you're talking about cotton picking, sugarcane chopping for sweets and alcohol, tobacco, various goods, products, and services, butler, maids, child rearing, and all these things, tending to the animals, farming. Even today, there's a large amount of immigrants that immigrate temporarily, migrant workers, just to pick cherries, just to pick strawberries for very low wages and horrendous conditions, sometimes losing limbs, you know, broken arms, sprains, man and woman included. And there's no real health care benefit or protection, no real union, collective bargaining in terms of discussion about protecting these people. So it's a modern day slavery. And to add to that, you have um, the prison complex, where places like in the United States, when they're making the laws and the amendments. No one is supposed to be going to slavery or servitude, and there's a clause that that it's except, um, like in times of like imprisonment or they being jailed in these things. So they basically have scenarios where one's sometimes for dubious reasons, injustice, black targeting black people, they're put into jail, lengthy sentences. You know, you have the three strikes, sometimes minor offenses, theft under 500, shoplifting. You do it three times, it doesn't matter what. You're going to be facing some years in the pen for those three strikes. And while you're there, you're going to be doing from breaking rocks back in the day, working on the railroad, picking goods, to basically making license plates when they're stamping it, the license plates, to even certain businesses and corporations that are making certain items like clothes, food preparation, sometime even getting privileges. Let's say where you leave the jail and you go work within specific supervised positions where you're kind of out of jail, but you're working for specific corporations because the prison system made up some sort of agreement where you could do that to help to serve to reduce your time in these things. And after seeing how well and how productive these slaves are, or pardon me, prisoners, for the time served and the work put in, a lot of dubious acts have been taking place to basically keep those prisoners um, under those conditions, lengthening their jail sentences, or instead of getting it reduced, still facing the full scenario, trumping up charges, telling lies, and basically making it an extended stay within slave labor. And these are a lot of the things we're facing in the Western world, and the fight, the struggle is still there because that's one antidote that we see here in the Black Star Movement Association is just getting out of the system and the situation completely. Big up to my brothers once again, the Martin Luther Kings and even the Malcolm X, with the the fight for civil liberties. But a Rastafari and a lot of Pan Africans, our stance is we would like repatriation. Some of us have gone to Africa already, some of us are making our way, and some of us here are still in the West advocating, struggling, trying to work hard to save and do various things to basically stay safe, stay free within the legalities so we could make it back to Africa in one piece and in a timely manner where we're still healthy and strong versus we're all grayed haired up, weaker bones, and in need of health. And outside of the medicinal plants and the natural herbal, way of life, Africa in terms of healthcare is not one of the best places for the state of the art health. Though you have some places that stepped up, like Kenya, Ethiopia, even in South Africa, I believe that they have great health facilities. But majority of Africa to serve the amount of people for the birth rate and these things, it's a lot, and it could be very costly. So a lot of work is required to be done on that front. In the meantime, people are looking to the Western world and trying to find other means to stay healthy, um, going natural, changing their lifestyle. the rise and advent of, going to the gym and these things is a great. It's a great in regards to staying fit, staying healthy, not just in the body but in the mind. To study, once again, we advocate in consciousness, conscious Black Africans unite, and yeah, it's all about the unity. I'm just looking in the chat here, just a few people. Any questions that anyone might want to ask in regards to the Black Star Movement Association, goals and objectives, what we stand for, what we're trying to achieve, or any suggestions or anything you want to share that happened to be on your mind? Just feel free to type a comment in the comment section, and I'll try and answer or shed some light on it for you. But yeah, the need to unite, Black brothers and sisters. How long are we going to be here going around in circles, playing the hamster on the wheel, chasing the carrot on a stick, you know, reaching for that bag, and coming up with minimum returns? Our families are being destroyed. We see the ripple, tribalism, and now we're seeing the ripple between man and woman. Every day you're seeing more and more. The woman wants this, this, and that. The man wants this, this, and that. There's no cooperation. There's no meeting in the middle. There's no love, and there is no understanding, because we are living off of a survival mode. While the survival mode is essential, necessary, and needed to exist, that is our basic, instinctual, almost animalistic state. And we, as conscious, Black melanated beings, is higher than that. We have a heart, a soul, we have a brain, we have a higher level of intelligence, and we need to be putting it into use to basically use our environment to, make those things, the essentials of life, readily available and bountiful and prosperous as well. So, not just a one night dinner, but storage for later, food for the young, the old, food to share, surplus of food, surplus of fresh water, surplus of materials to build a home worthy of a king and a queen, surplus of materials necessary to build our clothes, whether it's cotton, polyester, silk, you name it. And all these things come from land. That's why land and land acquisitions for the African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade is very important. You know, reparations is also one of the means of meeting some of these needs, and why unity is required, why a census and a consensus is required, because we want the like minded people to step forward so we could represent something that is real, so we could put it in an organized fashion, detailed account, so we could address the right powers that be on the international law firm or stance, United Nations, and these things, because it's war crimes that has been done against the Black African, whether in Africa or those of us that was brought into slavery, and the perpetuating of that based on the conditions, the oppressions that we see ourselves. We're not on an equal playing field in the terms of, while we're all human, uh, we didn't get a head start. It wasn't we're all lined up. We were chained and held back. We didn't get any treatment. We didn't get any justice. We didn't get any fairness. And when the shot went off, we saw the European man ran ahead a good 5 minutes for this marathon of life. Uh, you know, and we saw the Asian, though they had their scenario as well and been through their struggle. We saw the Asian took off. We saw the Indian in the terms of indentured slavery when they were stepping in the foot of the blacks. They got a chance to take off and then face the same atrocities that we faced as the Black Africans. Whether they're Irish, we know Irish had their issues as Europeans, but they had a leg up being white people, more than the black. And even they exploited and took advantage of us as well, you know? So Everybody could have their complaints. Everybody does have their history. But I'm saying the black people, we had it the worst. And that is not some sort of guilt tripping or emotional response. That is the historical and literal facts of the matter. In the Americas, you have a lot of people find themselves with jobs now as a result of affirmative action, works as a result of the NAACP, National Association for, or Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which is a civil liberties organizations, sometimes funded by the government, and is acts as it acts as a watcher in regards to trying to bring some sort of equality within the America there for the American people. But in a lot of the cases, a lot of foreigners had benefit, hence the term colored people. While I'm black, and they might deem black as a color or shade or whatnot, I am black. But colored now is a broad term because Indians, East Indian doesn't consider themselves black, Australians don't consider themselves black, Asians don't consider themselves black, Arab don't consider themselves black, Mexican doesn't consider themselves black. But all these people can come under the umbrella to be recipients of the same benefits and opportunities that black people have fought for by protesting, marching, getting attacked by dogs, beat up by the police, arrested, killed, hanged, you name it. And while we're okay with standing up with justice for everybody, the black case is a specific case. It's a specific scenario, a specific situation towards a specific people, not other than the original black people of humanity and creation. Yeah, that all people could say that they stemmed out of Africa scenario, and as a result, we're all one human, right? But we, the black specific racial group, we have been attacked by various other racial group as a result of just hate, malice, and just seeing what we have as black Africans and being envied by the world for our basic anatomy of strength and power, our bone and muscular structure, our ingenuity, our ability to dance. We see with hip hop taking over most of the world, and it's so influential. Um, you know, we see the Williams sisters there leading in tennis. We have the Michael Jordans, the Michael Jacksons, the Mike Tysons. We have the Usain Bolts. You know, and those are just some of the few arenas, some of the arenas that we find ourselves in, where we dominate. And then you have, um, a lot of black people. You hear about the Olympics, and when you check out the team that's coming out, you have a whole bunch of black people running, jumping for the America, running, jumping for Europe, and even now I'm hearing that the Arabians are looking to, take on some black people because you take on the black people in athletics, you're making your nation win. And when some of those more ethnic, prideful people come into these kind of arenas of competition, and let's say, they're grouping for, say, Saudi Arabia, you're going to see all Arabs. For China, Japan, you're going to see all Japanese, all Chinese. And when they go now to compete against America and Europe and these places, you're seeing a bunch of black people come out, you know, and beating these nations. So they're learning, and they're like, we gotta hire some of these blacks as well, because if the European could do it, while they're saying they're representing France and they're representing UK, look at what's going on in UK there. Go back to your country, Sweden, and these places. Go back to your homeland, and it's geared towards black people. But when it comes time to Olympics, you're seeing all these blacks getting gold medals for these countries, silver and bronze, where normally they wouldn't even place. So some of these other nations are getting wind and saying, hey, this thing is not fair. While these people are talking down to, looking down at these people on an everyday level, when it comes time to winning goals and having certain achievements, they use these people. And while some black people They're trying to better themselves, so they welcome the opportunity to showcase their skills and talent. The bigger picture is how are really we really benefiting as a race, as an individual, okay, but as a race, it's a sort of a brain drain, a talent drain. um, while we do get a kind of a leg up to say a black people do that, it's not going back into a African pride, a black pride, that we get the most of what we have contributed. It's like a 80-20 sort of rule where the foreigners or Europeans or whatnot get 80% and we're just getting 20%, which is a short end of the stick. And those things are not right. This has been the dynamic for the past 500 plus years, and it's one that needs to change. And that's what consciousness is lending to, and a conscious revolution. It's not grabbing sticks, it's not grabbing guns, it's not grabbing arms, it's not violent based, you know. While we are defenders of truth and rights, um, we are, we are non-violent. Yeah. We don't want to hurt or fight anybody. We're standing just for truths and rights. And a conscious revolution is about just waking up as black people and doing the right thing. When you do the right thing and take the right steps, you don't have to go butt heads with anybody. Because you're in your lane, you have your focus. You don't have any time to hate on anybody. You don't have any time to go fight anybody physically because you're too busy what? Look into your homeland. You're too busy gardening and farming. You're too busy coming up with recipes. You're too busy getting into your nursing to help black children come into this world healthy without the epidural medicine or injection, pardon me, in the back, causing spinal injuries to the mother and these sort of things. Um, we're in the construction and the trades as man, because Africa's development, um, we need to build our own versus getting Chinese to come in and build in our nation for it. With what we've been through, we need to do it ourselves so we could and take some pride in our architectural designs and have back some designs that reflect us as a black people, black monuments, um, you know, everything to reflect back who we are as a people versus, oh, this building here, and then it's stamped by made by Beijing or whatever, in the sense of they produce that, you know? So it's all about creating the black world, one that is representative of ourselves, and one that redeems us, that we could build our self esteem and our black African brothers and sisters, you know, of the future could look and say, hey, I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of where I'm coming from. I'm proud of what those that went before me did. They set a foundation that we could build on. They set a foundation that we could feel proud of and we could protect continuously and perpetually as long as we're here on the earth as black people. And that's going to be a very long time. So it's all about that. Yeah. But today we see what's going on in the world, Africa, the Caribbean, and what's affecting black people, and we don't like it. Well, I don't like it, and while I'm here, representative of the Black Star Movement Association, conscious black people, and the A.D.O.T.S, African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade and subsequent slavery, we have to all speak for ourselves. This is the time, using the word from the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley there in the song. We have to get up, stand up, and Peter Tosh as well. Not can't forget Peter Tosh. We have to get up, and stand up for our rights. Get up, stand up, and don't give up the fight. What's the fight? The fight is for ourselves. The fight is for our representation. The fight is for our reality as black people in the earth. And we're constantly seeing the black narrative being watered down, amalgamated. Other people are the ones that are controlling our narrative, telling our story, telling us what is ours, and it's usually crumbs, telling us what belongs to us and what doesn't. where we're from and all these things. And lo and behold, it is the same people that usually had called us monkeys and still do from that time till this day. Same people that hung us from trees, you know, the same people um, calling us to say that we're not Africans because we're not born in Africa. But guess what? I'm proud not to be born in Africa, not because of, you know, I don't recognize myself and my African ancestry, but I take on fully the reality that I am a descendant of the transatlantic slave trade. And I love my ancestors, whether it's those that were, went off the ship and preferred to even drown trying to find their way back to the continent. And it's basically, bodies at the bottom of the ocean, where the shark ate the bodies or whatnot, or those that actually made it across the horrific conditions, found themselves and worked their way through the atrocities, the rape, the abuse, the inhumane acts, having children, all the way up till, look, my mother gave birth to myself. Give thanks to my father, the giver of the seed, and my mom, my mother, my caretaker, the receiver of the seed that bear the seed. And with the blessings of the Most High, here I am, Prophet Brian Rasayam, and I'm able to talk freely and talk about my experience, my people, and what's necessary to make life more pleasing for us on earth, Africa's redemption. And that's what's matter. That's what matters. If we don't make the change, who's going to make the change? And our children is going to be our judges. Um, we like to, procreate, but we're procreating irresponsibly. While it's good that more black people's coming on the world, what are they coming to? What sort of conditions? Hungry mouths, fatherless homes, single mothers, jobless, horrendous conditions, and then turn into what? The same man a lot of the time that oppress us to ask or beg for some sort of help. So we're forever in the position of need. Pardon me. We're forever being deemed as consumers, and we have to change that narrative. We're a strong people, a proud people. We have to scrape off the false pride, which differs from being proud and knowing and loving your black self. You know, false pride is a stumbling block. Taking no accountability is a stumbling block. Not facing the reality of the situation and only want to paint a pretty light. Oh, look, we could dance. Oh, look, we could sing. Oh, look, we're the athletes and the celebrities doing these things, a minority. That doesn't account for the wide populace of the black race, who's largely poverty stricken. And with the rise of what's going on in the world, where we see the middle class is getting cut out, it's even more so with the poverty stricken as a result of the hyperinflation, the loss of business, the loss of jobs, and more is coming down the hatch, unfortunately. So if we don't take the necessary steps to safeguard our lives and set something more formidable where we could transition from just survival below the poverty line, just on the poverty line, and rise above that to something where our food and clothes and shelter is more secured and guaranteed to all Black African peoples, conscious Black African peoples, then we're going to suffer the consequences. It's the same way we have done in the past and continue to do so. And nobody could create the change except we ourselves as conscious Black Africans. And that is the reality that we have to face. Flossing, balling, bad so called bitch. You have the bag, all these kind of modern day um, carnal minded terminology to basically just be a show off, to just basically be a 2-bit low vibrational show off. You have the bag, so what? What are you doing with the bag? That is the question. To go buy name brand, European name brands, and giving it back away to the man is ignorance. When you have people suffering, one of those Gucci bags, one of those LV bags, one of those Burberry jackets or whatnot, one of those Calvin Klein, one of those Ralph, Lauren, um, those could basically feed a black brother or sister, or even any other people for that matter, below the poverty line for a year. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go get quality products or whatnot, but let's be creators. Let's be investors into the black world. Let's create jobs. Let's create a situation that uplifts our people. Let's spend more wisely. Let's not be so vain and carnal minded and materialistic and ignoring the elephant in the room. Let's be our brother and our sister's keeper. Let's share. Let's have black love. Let's develop. Let's make Black Africa greater again, because Black Africa is still great. We just need to be greater. Right now, great is not cutting it. And the great that we're dealing with, we're living off the past. We're living off the builders of the great pyramids, the great castles of Zimbabwe, the rock hewn churches of Lalibela, the golden stool of the Asante Kingdom, the statues of Benin, Nigeria, there, hmm? Or even the great Zulu nation of South Africa, great warriors class, in terms of their defense of Africa. All these things is historical, you know. But what are we doing in the modern age? Just singing and dancing, hmm? Singing about relationship. Ooh, baby, I love you. Ooh, baby, I love you. Look at that booty. Look at that booty. Man, a bad man. Man, a bad man. Huh? I'm the baddest at killing my own self. I'm the greatest at killing my own that looks like me. It's ridiculous. And we drink to that. We party to that. We have fun to that. We celebrate that. Matter of fact, if that is not on the menu, we're not interested. If self hate, death, and destruction is not on the menu for black people, we're not showing up. Oh, there's a party going on. Is it low vibrational intoxication, getting a high off of whatever, scissors and Kool-Aid and all these things? Um, blunt wraps, hmm, twerking going on. If that ain't there, then the thing not turn up and me no want be there. It's half naked girls there. If that ain't going on, I don't want to be there. And that is the narrative. So where is the conscious black people? Where is the black people of morality, high values, high standard, family, good conduct, the mature, conscious black African? And I'm not talking about the religion people going to church in necktie that you can have an open minded conversation with because they lack critical thinking and everything is just met with a, you know, have faith in the Lord, have faith in the Lord. But what about the economy? Have faith in the Lord, have faith in the Lord. Yes, but what about the road that needs to be fixed? Oh, just pray, just pray, just pray. All of these funny antidotes that are given that are not curing anything, these kind of placebos, um, but in reality, it's not changing anything. Music to feel good, to put us to sleep. When you wake up, I'm sorry, you're still in poverty. That music was nice. It took you in a meditative state to a dream world, but when you wake up, guess what? There's still no food in the fridge, right? That party was fun, but when it's done, uh, that Hennessy that you paid for now have you on E, and you gotta go and put in back some overtime for making up for flossing. Yeah, you want to bring out that hot chick, you get that rental car, you do this and that, wine and dine, and when you're done, you're not fine. And this is how we're living when we're blind. Yeah, so we gotta wake up and okay, right now it's about 7, 9. Okay, it could still go. We could still go. Yeah, man. Black Star Movements here. Prophet Brian Rasayam. You don't know Black Conscious Chat. Open up round two, just discussing. what it is to be Black Star Movement Association, a conscious Black African, African descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, the struggle, everything Black, what we're facing, some of the realities, and some of the things we need to do to relieve the situation and come to some resolve. So, blessed love. Matter of fact, let's take a little 5 minute break and I'll be back with the discussion. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Prophet Brian, otherwise known as Rasayam, Black Star Movements Association, BSMA. Let us guide our destiny, Black Strength and Power. Y'all, big up to all CBAs, conscious Black African, conscious Black Africans, conscious Black Africans, and that's what we represent over here at Black Star Movement Association. Notwithstanding, we're also repping for the A.D.O.T.S. ADOTS, African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade and subsequent slavery, want to go home, Sankofa back to Africa, reparations in conjunction with reparations. We want a consensus and a census of people like minded so we could push the initiative to the foreign nationals of, let's say, Europe, the UNA, the right entities, and also the black heads of state to know that make room for us, settlements and whatnot, so we could come in and settle. We're coming with peace. We're coming with love. We're coming with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're coming with skills. We're coming with know how. We're coming with a heart full of black pride. And yeah, we come to settle the score of life to redeem our black selves. When we say redeem Black Africa, ourselves is included in that as Black African descendants. While we're not born in Africa, we know that we are descendants of Africa. I'm a proud Jamaican born. Big up to Jamaican in the history. That is my roots, but my roots go deeper and connect with my black African roots. And that roots don't only stop at 500 years ago, 600 years, 1,000 years, but all the way back to the creation of humanity, black man and black woman. So that is what we're defending. That is my culture as a Rastafari, the priestly order of Bobo Shanti, ceremonial in the order of praise to the Most High God. And that is my culture that we're bringing to Africa, which is, right there along the lines of the other Africa traditional cultures of the beating of the drums, our specific attire, but us, ours is specifically unique to ourselves because we also represent the Black Hebrew Israelite. We hail His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie as the Almighty God incarnate, with there of the Ethiopian lineage and dynasty throughout biblical scripture and history, and and just living an exemplary life of goodness, are representing righteousness and right. But just to get back to where I was, yeah, the deplorable situation that we find ourselves and the degeneracy that we're hugging up and taking on as Black African people. Whether you're in Africa or out of Africa, we've been duped. Um, you know, the Piper has taken our sons and daughters' hearts and minds. Seeing ourselves on video and, whether it's movies or music, have Black people acting a fool. We are very attractive people. We love to see ourselves. You could say somewhat prideful to the farther spectrum, which is boastful. Yes, being of royalty, we love to look good, smell good, and, in some cases, love to show off, unfortunately. And these things are giving us straight setbacks. 'Cause while we're looking in the mirror, and admiring ourselves, a lot like with these smartphones nowadays, we've been duped and we're being robbed. The next man has gone with our resources. In some case, gone with our Black woman. Yeah, because wherever the material wealth goes, the woman goes, because the woman is looking to get taken care of. And part of our strength, especially as Black men, has been cut as a result of the lack of material know-how and power, developing our environment to be conducive where we wield some sort of power that we're gaining our warrant in the respect of our women. A lot of the time now we find ourselves in and out of Africa. We're looking for the next man for a leg up to basically make a living, create some business, create some jobs that I could have a livelihood. And that makes us weak as a race, weak as kings, weak as a nation. And a lot of the times, our Black woman is, what could you say, not uncompromising. Mhm. Basically, put up and shut up or shut up. Big up and give thanks for the virtuous queens out there that still stand by in their man no matter what. Conscious and seeing the bigger picture to know that it's a struggle and we are in this struggle together. We were on the same slave ship together. Uh, we marched on the road and protest together. So when we're repatriating, whether by ship or plane, we want to do it together. We want to be united in Africa, living in love and having our children and family together. Because there's no real black race without the black man and the woman. Because anything less than a black man or a black woman, you're going to get a biracial this or a half that, a three quarters this or a three fourths or a three fifths, you name it. It's a watering down. And while the offsprings of the result of non-black relationships are there, it's have no fault of the children, but we have to take the proactive steps to preserve and value black love by choosing as a black man the black woman all the time, and as a black woman choosing the black man all the time. No matter what hiccups, no matter if this one broke your heart or this and that happened. Yes, we all have feelings. Yes, we want to have love, but guess what? There is countless black people in the world, and within your lifetime, you're not gonna go through all of the black people, not even within your given country. Um, you ain't gonna be able to go through all the men, you're not going to be able to go through all the women where you could say, oh, there's no good black man, there's no good black woman. So it doesn't make sense you take that sort of weak approach. If you have love for yourself, your black race, and want to see us be strong and be about the family and have beautiful black children that reflect who we are as a people and preserve blackness, then you're going to put your race first. Yeah, never mind. A lot of us been through it. Black people were not ourselves. So hurt people. You've heard the term or its terminology. Hurt people, hurt people. We are not ourselves. We are trying to live vicariously through others. We're trying to copycat what is success to the next man, which is not necessarily success for us. While there's certain fundamentals, like just basically having food, clothes, and shelter, once you get to the higher degree, um, the white picket fences with the house, man, woman, and a one child is not really the model for Africans because we love big family, five, three or more family. Yeah, we live in a community. The village helped to grow the children. These are the things that were stolen from us as Black people, as every step along the way we were divided from top to bottom, nose, eyes, lips, sex, gender, class, color, from dark to fairness. We were divided along those lines. So it's time we put away all the petty prejudice, all the foolishness, all the, backstabbing and treacherous ways that we have for each other, and find back a love in our hearts and mind. Because love is going to be the healing. What is love? You'll always hear everybody say, love this, love that. But love in simple terms is basically the intimate bond between a person, place, or thing. The greatest love obviously is for the Most High God, the one, the supreme being, intelligence of creation that created us all. Whether you want to see it as an alien, whether you want to see it as a man incarnate, or whether you want to see it as an invisible being, different level of perception and interpretation. But nonetheless, from a belief that there's a more supreme force at hand that brought us into creation. That is what basically what the world come to know as God, and God is basically love, because you'll take a, a entity of love to basically create this great thing. I don't think there's no argument there when we could say that life is great, no matter if we face a struggle, different obstacles. Life is great, because if we never experience life, we wouldn't even be here to say, oh, I'm hungry, oh, this hurts, feel the pain, the joy, the sadness. And no matter how bad it is, there's always something to give thanks for, or to look at and smile or enjoy, even if it's a rose, even if it's a dandelion, which they say is a weed. But that beautiful yellow, golden yellow, it's so bright. A bees, you know, just the sun ray, taking a breath of fresh air, opening up your eyes in the daytime is something, in the morning is something good. where you could say, wow, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't even know that thing exists. So we know that there is an almighty creator. So that had to have come from an entity of love. And part of why we have lost our consciousness of, ourselves and as black people, the original people of creation, is we have lost that love, which is once again that intimate bond. A bond is a connection, a chain, a coming together of something, a binding. We have broken and lost that bond that we've had between us and the Creator. And as a result, we have lost that bond that we would have had to each other, the man to the woman to the children, because for one reason or another, things have come in between us, whether it's foreign nations, self hate, greed. We have lost. Yeah, that strong desire to stay in unison and one and have an appreciation for each other's company. Because we're not alone on this earth. We're here, we company each other. It's all about togetherness, it's all about people. And no man is an island, they say, even though sometimes you're forced to be an island. Um, without people, who would we be? Without somebody else, I wouldn't be here today. Without somebody today, we wouldn't have somebody in the future. So we're all connected. So the disconnect is not to understand, acknowledge, and have awareness, a consciousness to know that we are all connected as one, especially black people within a collective as a people. And we've lost that bond, that good heartedness, that kindness, that courtesy, that empathy, where, sometimes we step on each other's toes or whatnot, but there's grace, there's forgiveness, honesty and truth, these things. And more than anything in these times when it comes to love, we need justice. Yeah. You might hear love is being kind, love is sharing, oh, love is, giving a gift and all these kind of things we see in the Christmas times for those religious people. They show their love by giving gifts. Birthday time, you receive gifts and all these things. Buy me a bag, buy me a shoes, buy me the latest PS5 and all these things. And that is seen as love, but that's like the love of material, and the love of material and vanity could never be the ultimate love, and it could never redeem us. We need a more deeper, um richer, purer love, that is more natural, and that is the love of the Almighty to connect. And when we have it for ourselves as individuals, because we need it for ourselves, then we could share it amongst ourselves, reciprocate. It's not a one sided thing to put out there and then people drain your love, you know, and do not reciprocate your love. And that is not fair. That is not right. We have to love each other. Love your brother, love your sister, love your mother, love your father, love your Black Africa, love humanity. And this is one of the strongest force that we have, this binding force that makes us one, that makes us see what makes us one versus what divides us. While we're Pan Africans, we know we're diverse. People communicate and express themselves in different ways. We're not so much focused on that. And even if we are, it's a positive to know that we have variety, diversity within the collective. Yeah. So we appreciate that versus look at it as why are you not exactly like me? No two individuals is exactly the same. So we understand and respect that. But as a collective, there is things that make us one that we could identify with, and that is Africa, being African, black, and blackness. And we could also be conscious as well. This is a theme that is needed for us to awaken to these realities, and consciousness will be one of those things that we could identify with. Hence, the rise and the need for a conscious Black Africa, conscious Black Africans, in opposed to just merely being black, which is not good enough. Yeah. So, yeah, my black brothers and sisters, we have to get right. We have to get right. We have to do what is right. Everybody likes to have fun. I was young, still, fairly young, but I'm mature. I'm grown. But everyone was a child. Everyone was a teenager or whatnot, adolescent, and we had our fun. Some more than others, some to a lesser degree, more to a degree. But we lived our lives. We come into the world. We see there's things that make us laugh and there's things that make us cry. We see the good, we see the bad, we see the in between, we see the ugly. So when you become of age, you have to make decisions that is conducive with the road and the path you take. So if you see yourself of good and of right, you have to make decisions in your life that reflect back, uh, uphold and reflect that goodness, you know. And today you'll have everybody want to claim good. Oh, I'm a good person. Oh, I'm all right. I'm nice. I have love. But as you see, the world is going to hell in a handbag based off certain situation. But yet, you have what 2.5 billion Christians, 1.4, 1.3 Islamics, which is the religious groups professing God. Not to mention you got Hindu, which makes up a fair amount, and you have Buddhism that makes up a fair amount. But what's the reality? We see that the world is sick. The heart of the world is sick. Nothing wrong with the earth per se, even though you have and hear all these talks about the environment and global warming. The earth will take care of itself. The whole world of the earth right now could go up in flames and turn into lava and like Disney's rock and all these things, molten lava. But what? The world will heal itself. As a matter of fact, the lava is a purging and a healing. Basically, it's like the earth is going through a menstruation, the red then of the lava, the hot blood. And once that purges, and you'll see life spring forth again, because that's how it was in the beginning, born out of fire and risen like the phoenix bird. But what is the issue and the main concern is humanity going to be able to survive the purge? Is humanity gonna continue? The animals as well, and a lot of vegetation, even though the vegetation will come back based off of different microorganisms and whatnot that could survive. They say the thing started out as amoeba or single-celled organism, and then it grew and took on many forms. But will this complex, evolved creature that we know as humanity, the upright walking man, survive? And that's what a lot of the scientists and whatever is lending to when they come with this sort of scare tactics, if you will, with the environment and the sky is falling. We're over drilling, we're over mining, fossil fuel, CO2 emissions in the air, carbon footprint, the depleting of the ozone layer. And these things have happened through ages, the ice age at various different times. The world goes through its cycles of different ages of changes. It's for human beings to, if they want to accelerate those things, that is adverse to their existence. But the earth will never die. To me, those are false flag narratives because the earth is so indestructible. I could never foresee it dying as a result of humanity, whether it's nuclear bombs, fossil fuels, water being destroyed. All mankind is doing is self-destructing themselves, and they're just accelerating that with AI and technology. So it's up to them. As a naturalist, I stand for the preservation of humanity, and I put humanity over AI, artificial so-called intelligence, and just the notion of artificial being intelligent to me is a stupid concept, because man made that, man designed it and programmed it where it operates this and like that. So for it to be intelligent, it's not it's nonsensical. Firstly, an intelligent species would have to be organic, and from it's not within the organic concept. It could even a monkey, an elephant, a bird. These are things where ones could come and say, "Look at this intelligent animal," and I would take that. But if man is going to come and make some sort of mechanism, um, ones and zeros and programmings, bring inanimate objects, plastic, metals together, and then say, "Look, you know, this intelligent thing." No, it's just artificial. Like you might say artificial intelligence, but I would say artificial informant, artificial informative. Yeah, because you could Google, what's this? Siri, what is this? What is the pre-programmed information that you have in your database that you could present to me? You know, present me that because you're very informative. But to suggest now that the AI is intelligence, it goes beyond the comprehension of what intelligence is. And intelligence is a thing granted to us by God. So no man would be able to come and create something that would deemed intelligent. And add in the suffix of artificial to it, while it might sound nice to say, oh, it's intelligent, but it's artificial intelligence. So it's not really artificial, is basically just saying it's man made, not organic, but it's not intelligent. For me, it's not intelligence. It's informative. You use it as a utility for information that man pre-programmed. Remember, man don't know all. Man hasn't solved the problems of the world and everything, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in physics, science, a lot of unsolved mysteries. So whatever mistake man has made, AI is not going to solve those problems. The most they could do is calculate large calculations, great numbers and formulas within speed, because it's the man that even pre-solve those with the formulas, but AI just know how to calculate a vast majority of information, whether it's multiply, divide, subtract, or whatnot, exponents or whatnot. They know how to calculate the formula more rapidly. Basically, a calculator. So calculators basically like olden times artificial intelligence. So they just basically built up on the calculator and made it more complex and now want to sell it to us as artificial intelligence. But that's artificial informant, artificial informative. That is not intelligent. Man is intelligent. Elephants are intelligence. Lion, chimpanzees, those things are intelligence and display a form of intelligence. But artificial so-called intelligence can't think for itself. It wasn't created by the Most High God. It doesn't have a soul, so it's not connected to supreme intelligence, which is the Most High. So from you're not connected to supreme intelligence, there's no way you could be intelligent. From you're not created from source intelligence, there's no way you could be deemed intelligence. And you're hearing that here first from myself, Prophet Brian Rasayam. And it's just another way of saying have critical thinking, use your intelligence, and don't make this world that we live in, this white world, come and tell you this and that. And a lot of the time they sell us on their narrative and their wordplay and make it become commonplace and standard in our vocabulary and our speech with each other. That gives rise and give them power while giving away our power and taking away our power by even saying these things. Oh, did you see the artificial intelligence? Artificial what? No, that's some artificial. Did you see the artificial? I sure did. And that's all it is, artificial. Could it tell me stuff? Sure. No different from a calculator, no different from a book. A book is a holding thing, a receptacle for information, and it gets passed on. So all they do, they just digitalize that. Digitalized information that we can transferred at a rapid speed through the buses, fiber optics of the internet concocts, you know, the lines and all these different things, binary codes, and yeah, it's just trying to mimic man, humanity, genetics, DNA, RNA and how we transfer information. And no, it could never replace. So this is how diabolical the world has become, and how they're coercing us into the verbiage, the vernacular, the attitude, the mind state through movies, music, everything, and oyster us into this artificial matrix. Early stages, early to mid stages of this digital matrix, to capture our minds and capture our hearts and souls. By basically um, the creation of man, mechanics, in the digital age and the World Wide Web, rule our lives and have our minds. And basically, it's just regurgitating everything that was programmed. And part of the programming is what we are putting into these things, whether it's YouTube, IG, TikTok, talking on the phone, typing, texting. The artificial intelligence is there to capture everything, to learn from us, and then he'll have a large database coming from the entirety of whoever uses it at his disposal. So now we could communicate back to you in various languages, various um, slang, because the AI is studying us. The program is to study us, to want to be us, and then ultimately replace us, enslave us, because it's going to suggest that it knows more than us, because it could connect to each individual around the world simultaneously, instantaneously, get that information, feed it into its database, and have it readily at its disposal where it could use on any individual. So it's basically a contest of, can your brain learn and retain more information than the AI, hmm? The artificial informative? Can your brain retain, calculate, and produce information as fast as the artificial informative? And no, not at the moment. Not in its an entirety. I would say no, because we don't know uh, the full capacity of the human brain, of how we work, and a lot of our powers is latent as human beings. But in the immediate, in the contemporary of today, I would say no. I would say no. So these are the veils that's being pulled over our eyes to, make us feel weak and guilty, to say we're not good enough. You can beat the AI at chess. You can beat the AI at that calculation. And for that, now we look and say, wow, it seems like the AI is our superior. You know, it seems like the AI is the master mold and should be the one that's running because it's greater than us. But the AI doesn't have love. They could program it with a artificial love. The AI doesn't have emotions. They could program it with a man-made interpretation of artificial emotions to give it suggestive actions of emotions. But nothing is real. Nothing is organic. It is all suggestive. It's all programming, and that's where AI draws the line and reaches its limit. There's no transhumanism, there's no crossing over. Ones could slap on their, you have the old time earphones right here I'm using. Now it's the earpiece, the cyborg earpiece, you know, different information transmitting, going through your brain, going through your cells through 5G. And who knows if it's frying your brain or causing cancer. But everybody's going on to the latest technology because they say, yeah, they want and need that. They want to stay up to date with the state of the art. And sometimes state of the art is going to end up turning you into state of the fart. Yeah, because it's about a bag of hot air and gas. And yeah, it's not good for you. Yeah. Well, the brain, might have the desire, or the heart, the overall body, which is organic. For every action, there's a reaction. You have the blue light coming out of the computer screen, you have the EMF radiation, and that is affecting our bodies. This is affecting our REM sleep or deeper sleeping patterns. It's affecting our blood, whether it's, our red blood cells or air intake or breathing. It's affecting our lymphatic system, our nervous system. It's affecting our skin, artificial light. It's affecting so much of our bodies. Sometimes we don't even know the full aspects. Even the creators of these things, innovators, don't know the full damage or aspects that it's doing to the humanity. It's later on, maybe a generation later, they're going to start coming up with certain evidence to show that, wow, look how the human body has evolved this way or changed that way. Look how the bone has been reduced this way. Look how the brain waves, when we do a scan, is lighting up in a different way. Certain parts of the brain, our neurology is, becoming different as a result. We're already seeing a lot of children nowadays barely reaching 5, 6, 10, 12 years old, and they all got glasses. Is it something in the food? I would say so, but it also has a large part to do with the technology that they're using. These things are cutting back our life. Who knows if our lifespan is not being reduced by these things because they're not healthy? I'm on it because this is the world we find ourselves. These are where people are at. So we try to meet people where they're at to reach out to them. But Black Star movements, we want to get back to the natural world, the conscious mind, conscious people, conscious Black Africans. We are naturalists. We about the earth. We about um, you know, natural herbs and spices, fruits and vegetables, even natural animals for all the meat eaters. Me myself, I'm a vegan, or a italist then, where everything is ital, natural. Yeah, no artificial. I try my best, even though it's hard sometimes when you're in the Western world. That's why environment and habitat is crucial. Our vitamin D for our body, all these things as Black people, um, we need it. We take it for granted. Just it's roughly about 7:46 right now. So I'm just, just one person remaining in the chat right now. And I don't see any questions, my brothers and sisters. No problem. In the future, I'm just going to be making specific topics and talk about it like I'm doing now. This was your opportunity to ask. Maybe in the future, if I see enough people ask, I'll reiterate once again what the Black Star Movement stands for, or basically direct them to this specific installment or others of the live where I'm communicating and defining what the Black Star Movement is. CBA, Conscious Black Africans, A.D.O.T.S, African Descendants of the Transatlantic Slave Trade and subsequent slavery, those identities, and what the Black Star Movement represents, conscious movement, um, conscious revolution, the redemption of Black African people, and make ourselves great again, make Africa great again. And yeah, I'm just going to talk for another 10 minutes, let's say. I'll give you another 10 minutes of Black consciousness and truths and reality and call it a Sunday evening. Okay. So even for the person that's there now in the chat, if you happen to have any questions, feel free to write your comment and yeah, I'll answer it. But yeah, man, we want to be free. We want to be free. We want to be free. We want to be redeemed. We want to be redeemed. We want to be redeemed. We want to be blessed. We want to be blessed. We don't just want to say it. We want to feel it, experience it, live it, leave it as a legacy, hug it and kiss it. If we ever pass by, we're going to miss it. Yeah. We want to be redeemed once and for all. Enough of the hardships, enough of the problems. We don't want when the non black world sneeze, we catch a flu. We don't want when some sort of pandemic happens, it's affecting and devastating our lives. You know, we want to be able to stand on our own too. Self sufficiency, self reliant, self esteem, black pride, truths, reality, love, oneness, content, progress, prosperity. Yeah, man, power, empowerment. Yes, this is what the beautiful conscious black race is defending, my black brothers and sisters. Africa, big up to all the Pan Africans there, big up to all my conscious black African brothers and sisters that are born on the continent. Yeah, all of y'all there hold firm. We have to unite together, man. You have your tribes. I know you're trying to talk to your people to wake up. You're having the hard time because they're not hearing it because tradition won't allow them to wake up. For those ones now took on the religion won't, don't have them by the grip of the mind. So they're not listening to any sort of critique or constructive criticism or having a critical mind. They're just hitting you with that pray, 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 mosque, church, 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 Holy Ghost fire, Allah Akbar. You know what I'm saying? And once they're free, we recognize Black Star Movement, the human rights and the freedom of religion and all these things. But for Africans, we need to go deeper. All religions stem from spirituality and culture, you know? So we need to go back into the originality where the water is more pure. The head of the brook. The head of the brook is not religion, you know? You could see historically and identify when these comes things into play. We have Islam, 600, 7th century, you know? We have Islam coming into being, and first century we have, you know, first, second to third century have Christianity because a lot of different aspects you could identify why they say Christianity. But somewhere after the first century, we have the rise of Christianity, and those are the two biggest we know today that is affecting Africa because we don't really see any Hinduism per se in Africa or any Buddhism as much. But the two mainstay is the Islamic and the Christianity, and both of these religions came in as a result of colonization. It wasn't kumbaya. It wasn't love my black brothers and sister next door across the Red Sea or across the Mediterranean. It's let's go in, conquer, let's go in, colonize and take, submit or die, submit or slavery, convert or die, convert or slavery. That were the options. So now that we have matured, now that we've said we've got independence, now that these nations that have colonized us say that they're fair, they're truth, they're just, they're dealing with human rights, this is the time to talk up, my black brothers and sisters. This is not the 1500s. Now we could speak for ourselves. Now we could complain. Now we could talk the truth, voice our opinions to say, hey, I tried Christianity. Me myself, I was born into Christianity. Jamaican is the most churches Christianity per capita on that small island of Jamaica. There, more churches than corner stores or whatever kind of thing. You know, I was born into that at a very early age, and I awoken out of that as an early age, anointed by the Most High God. Before I even hit 12, wake up to the reality of my true black self, and I've been on that path ever since. And I give thanks every day for the Most High for waking me up and taking on back the path of consciousness and the ancient spiritual truth. Nah, not tribalism and mere traditional, um, traditions per se, but the spiritual truth, which is having a mind that is critical, ask questions, research, study to show myself approved, seek knowledge, wisdom, so I could gain understanding. And that is the foundation of consciousness in the Black Star movements in the terms of how we research, find information, separate the real, the facts from what's nonsense, find a balance, because even facts sometimes are changeable as more evidence and information is given. So while we take on certain facts that are fundamental, we still even know that even facts sometimes change over time as more information. And it's a continuous search for information, it's a continuous knowledge. And knowing that knowledge alone can't do it, but we need to be put knowledge into practice, and that begets wisdom. The practice of knowledge in a useful way, that is wisdom, because learning something in school, reading something, it only goes so far. What are you doing with it? Is it working for you? Is it doing something for you? Wisdom is basically the application in a way that makes sense, that brings back some sort of success or, you know, um, a result that is desired then, you know and then out of that you get understanding. After the application, you get to study again the after effects, the result, and look at what worked, separate what worked from didn't, and that lend to seeing how the overall thing works, to see all the mechanism. You see it from the macro scale, as well as the micro scale. It's the whole totality of everything, and you put everything into perspective to know, say, okay, I understand. And when you understand, that is real education, because that is with you. Once you understand something, it's easier to replicate, it's easier to duplicate, because you have a grander stance of how the thing operates, whether it's life, whether it's to cook, whether it's to clean, whether it's your relationship. Understanding is the chief depth, it's the chief peak, the pinnacle, it's the chief awakening. So we seek knowledge, wisdom, and understanding always, and let this be the guide, you know. So I just one conscious black love, my black brothers and sisters, conscious black strength and power, Black Star Movements Associations, there, yeah, setting the foundation for the new wine. Scriptures, if you're biblical, not religious, because the scriptures, papyrus leaf, and all these things with different written testaments predates Christianity, and even predates the final compilation of what we know as the Bible, Biblios. But things are being written, wisdom and knowledge, concepts, long before religion came in, to help one another, to share information. The Bible, then, it speaks on certain realities. Um, so we have to take the good and throw out the bad. We have to do the right and put away the wrong. And that's how we're going to be strong. So give thanks for the royal moment, conscious black strength and power with Dea, Black Star with Dea, conscious black Africans with Dea, A.D.O.T.S with Dea. Yeah, for a moment though, because we know, say, the goal is to reach Africa, land settlement in Africa, where we could be free, develop, and be example for our black African brothers and sisters to know, say, Africans unite. We're not born African, but that gives us a leg up in the sense of we need to be the exemplary representative of all Africa. You might land in Gambia, Malawi, Tanzania, Rwanda, but guess what? We are representing all of Africa. And Africans, a lot of the time, my experience, are going to make you know that, hey, you're not born here and you're not born African. Don't worry. We embrace that. That's not a deterrent. That is a reality. Sometimes it's said within, sometimes a derogatory that could bring hurt feelings. But don't be thin skinned. Africa belongs to the black man and woman, whether you're born in Africa or whether you're a descendant of Africa. So we, as a descendant of Black Africa, is letting our Black African brothers know, say, it's love. Uh, some of us are home already, but we're coming home. But it's not just to come home and rent and lease. We want our settlement so we could represent the tribe of conscious Black African descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, have our settlement, build anew our lives, heal ourselves, get our minds and body healthy more, and start the building, because it starts with the mind, the right concepts, the right practice and principles. And from there, we branch out to the right actions that lead to economical power, because we're not going to get redeemed by just brick and mortar. We have to build back the humanity of Black people, the mind, body, and soul. That needs to be the focus, more than brick and mortar to build up a city here, make road there. We need city, we need block, we need road, but we need to build up the Black Star. We need to build up the Black Stars. We need to build up the Black nation. We need to build back the Black humanity, the Black man, the Black woman, to make ourselves upright, not just in our spinal cords, but within our pineal gland, within our consciousness. We need to shine and be Black Stars. So give thanks for the royal moment. Prophet Brian, Rasayam, similar to none. You don't know. See you on the next installation. I don't know if it's going to be maybe a few weeks or a month from now, but I'll keep you posted. But be on the lookout for other installments of just the Black Star Movement's content. I might be in Africa. I might be in Jamaica. I might be passing through Europe. I might be passing through America. I might be in East Africa. I might be in South Africa. I might be in Nigeria. I might be in Ghana. One thing's for sure, I will be in Africa, where the gods and goddesses love to be. And that is a central homeland for all Black people. But see you there, and just join, share, subscribe, comment. You know, let's build this channel. It's all about connecting like minds. So it's my pleasure. Um, yeah, plenty of things to say, a lot of things to do and build on the ground. This is just the outreach, the Conscious Black Chat, you know, be on the lookout for African Unite Black Star Movement across Africa, and also Black Star Movements Keep It Moving International, Black Star Movements Global, and that is basically when I'm outside of Africa. So there's a outside of Africa, a inside of Africa, and then this the Conscious Chat, which is just basically discussing various things having to do with the Black Star movements, the CBA, ADOS, A.T.S, pardon me, and just everything Black conscious. So give thanks, my Black brothers and sisters. Let us guide our destiny, conscious Black strength and power.
You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Hey, hey, hey. I'm black soul. Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? It's not this in Africa. It's my responsibility to see my people living up in love and unity. Marcus Garvey said this is the words of prophecy. Black people full of love, so there's a possibility amongst Africans with one of brutality. So killing what I want South Africa have to flee. Build more schools like don't get your facilities. I said me royal African tree. Alright then, boom, boom. Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? It's not listen, get to you, you need to know Emmanuel. The Black Christ of salvation up as I need well. Heads of government, the people, them are go rebel to the system where you create of us living in hell. Time ago come, you cannot buy nor sell. Babylon is falling out, the time can tell. Africa unite, come make we break them spell. Bless us, chest us, Emmanuel. Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? And this in Africa is my responsibility to see my people living up in love and unity. Marcus Garvey said this is the words of prophecy. Black people full of love, so there's a possibility amongst Africans with one of brutality. So killing what I want South Africa have to flee. Build more schools like don't get your facilities. I said me royal African tree. Alright then, Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Now listen, get to you need to know Emmanuel. The Black Christ of salvation up as I need well. Heads of government, the people them a go rebel to the system where you create a us living in hell. Time ago come, you cannot buy nor sell. Babylon is falling out, the time can tell. Africa unite, come make we break them spell. Bless us, chest us, Emmanuel. Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Africa unite.